Animesecrets.org, the answer to all your burning questions.
Hey guys, Rizwan here from Anime Declassified. Today we'll be talking about Voltron, Legendary Defender. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at CNDDrake, and I'm joined today by...
Hi, my name is Anthony Davis, also known as Green Boy on Twitter, but you can really find me on Anton Davis 32 at Twitter, but that's my nickname on there, so if you want to look for me, find me there. And I'm also joined by...
Oh, I'm supposed to come in now. Hello, everyone. This is Shamus, otherwise known as Ryder Jetfire. I don't get to do that on No Pink Spandex, so it's been a while since I've done that kind of intro. And it's great to be here, guys. I'm really excited to talk about Voltron. And let me tell you, if you had told me, like, 4 months ago I would be guesting on a podcast geeking out about Voltron, I'd be like, you are crazy. Because, like, before now, right? Like, Voltron was a thing that, like, yeah, like, some people know, and, like, it was a cultural touchstone and all that, but it wasn't like, oh, man, Voltron. But now, Voltron is the newest hype on the block.
It really is, and like for me, it's such an awesome thing that Voltron's back because I feel like I've been watching Voltron all my life at this point.
Well, it's been kind of around a lot, unlike a lot of other '80s properties. Besides, obviously, something like Transformers or GI Joe, it's kind of been rerun. It's reran in the '90s. It reran on Adult Swim for God knows how long. It was on Toonami too. Like, and there's been multiple incarnations. So now, it's sort of kept itself in the popular culture.
Yeah, most definitely. And, like, I still remember watching this movie back in, like, I guess daycare when I was, like, 4 or 5 years old. And I'm watching it, like, so you're telling me that you have these people that fly around in lions to build a robot. Little Riz is like, oh my god, that's amazing. Please, where can I get more of this?
It's like, yes,
and
my little mind.
It took me 2.5 years, I think, after that, to figure out the name of the movie, and then realize it's a TV show, not a movie.
That was probably one of those VHS tapes that had like 3 episodes or something like stitched together into one.
Mm-hmm.
It had the first 5 episodes, which is like the intro to the 80s cartoon.
I hear those are the best ones, so you did good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took me so long because I couldn't remember the name of it. Then I was like, wait, it sounded like something like Volt. Let me look around Blockbuster for this.
I mean, I was exposed to Voltron. I mean, this is probably like the super casual thing to say. I was definitely exposed to it. I mean, I saw toys of it around when I was a kid because I mean, I'm not that old, guys. I'm only like 20. I'm only like 20 something. So don't need to tell everyone who made it. It's 25. So I'm only 25. Is it 25? God, I can never remember. 25. And I saw toys of it, and then I saw, like, Robot Chicken sketches, because they did all kinds of Voltron sketches. And then I would catch it on Adult Swim sometimes. It'd be on at, like, 5:30 when I got up in the morning. So
yeah, I
never, like, could follow the story, because I only ever caught the last, like, 5 minutes. So that ending theme is always stuck in my head. But other than that, the Pidge sounded weird. He sounded like a Muppet. I did not know what was going on with that guy. But other than that, I mean, it seemed like a fun show, and I always thought about watching it.
Sven was such an interesting character to like listen to and the dub. Like,
it's so good to be back.
Yeah,
that Norwegian accent. I'm like, okay, like I am all for changing things in American dubs, but I'm like, that might have been a step too far.
Exactly.
Like, I'm watching the new Voltron on Netflix, and my first reaction is, okay, they renamed Sven the Zero. But where's the Norwegian accent?
Yeah, well, I asked in an interview with the Shiro's voice actor Josh Keaton. I said, "Hey, are you ready for a fan at a convention for you to do a Norwegian accent?" And he's like, "Oh, I better get ready for that." Because somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to be like, "You need to speak in Norwegian," or he said he's like, "I don't know. Maybe if in the next season they ask me and they're like, hey, Shiro got lost in space and now he speaks like a Norwegian man, I'd do it." But I guess
I'm back.
Hello, I'm back.
So to kind of I guess start off, for those of y'all that don't know, Voltron is an 80s anime that started off as Go Lion in Japan.
Which, like, The thing people don't get about Gold Lion, for just a minute, I'm so sorry.
Go for it, man. You're good.
In Japan, no one cares about Go Lion. Like, it was just one of those many 80s animated series that were coming at the time that were clearly meant to sell toys. I mean, much like any of those shows were, right? It's to the point where the only release of it on home media, at least in the DVD age, has only been in America. The show has not come out, from what I understand, in Japan. That's how much they don't care. And they'll put out, like, a Japanese superhero program from 1975, but they will not put out this random animated... Because it didn't matter, right? It didn't...
Yeah.
And everybody knows the story, basically, of how Voltron came to be. Like, they were going to try to adapt another show, and they accidentally got Go Lion, and they were like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Like, I think they were trying to get another 80s anime, like, not even a mecha or something, right?
No, it was a mecha series. It was, I knew this. I was listening to a Voltron podcast the other day where Daltanius, it was called, and it had lions in it. And the whole story went that, and this is for the really uninitiated, is that the people at World Events Productions were like, hey, we want that Daltanius show, but they didn't know the name. Like, I couldn't remember it just now. And they just told Toei, they were like, hey, give us the one with the lions in it. And Toei didn't, they were like, oh, okay, and they sent Go Lion instead. And they looked at, and I think they eventually did get Daltanius footage as well, but they looked at Go Lion and they're like, no, this is it. But again, much like another animated series of the 80s, Robotech, they needed more episodes to fill the syndication because they needed at least 65. Go Lion was like 50-something. So they got another show called Die Rugger, which is basically a bunch of cars turned into Voltron. I know it's not just cars, but that's what it is. And
Mirai Robo Daltanius.
I never actually watched that, but I did watch. Like, there was an episode of Robot Chicken where, like,
where they're all trying to form.
Cars, like, taking forever to form Voltron.
Where's Voltron?
He's like, where's Voltron? Like, you weren't there.
So I watched episode 1 of Vehicle Force Voltron last week.
How was it? Was it any good?
I liked it. I really did.
There are some hardcore Vehicle Voltron fans out there. They exist. There are nowhere near as many as the Lion Force, but there are some.
Yeah, I actually want to watch the next couple episodes, but I can't find episodes 2, 3, and 4 on YouTube. They go to straight from 1 to 5.
Yeah, the official Voltron channel just has a bunch of random episodes.
Yeah.
Selected. I mean, the DVDs are still out there if you really want it, but you're also sort of like, do I want to watch 50 episodes of this? Like, that's always a problem.
That's my problem.
80s anime, except for, like, my love, pride, and joy, Robotech, most 80s anime are, like, they have a solid start, and then nothing happens for 40 episodes.
Yes.
That sounds like Sentai.
It does. Okay, yeah, definitely. I was about to go on a mad tangent, but everybody who's listening for Voltron, they're not having that. But I mean, yeah, things did happen in OG Voltron. I know that. I mean, what was it, Anthony? You said you had seen Voltron before, right? Like the OG Voltron.
Yeah. Yes, OG Voltron. I watched a little bit of Gold Lion as well, but like. I don't know. It just kind of like, not the funny voices, just to entertain me. Is not the same, the same effect.
And then of course with OG Voltron, I mean, if you watch it now, I mean, like the animation, especially compared to Legendary Defender, it is like limited animation.
Oh God, yes. But
the lions don't like
entertaining.
Oh yeah, it's super like. There's a reason why it got such a fan base and why there are still a lot of devoted fans. There's a great lore to it. There's a great universe that they don't really explore because it's an 80s anime. Like, what do you want, right?
Yeah.
Again, this isn't like Macross or something, Like, those shows were the exception, not the rule.
But Keith, though, with those lines, man.
Oh, man.
4 feet and legs.
4 arms. That is the most iconic part of the show. I mean, my friends and I had a lot of discussions when this show was coming out, and I have some friends who are huge fans of the old show, and they were very displeased that they didn't do that in the new show. Like, they didn't do it every episode. And I was like, well, that's the problem, is that, like, that's the only... It's funny that that's the main thing that people wanted in the new show. They didn't want, like, it needs to hit this story plot, or it needs to have this character, or Keith needs to have his mullet, which he does anyway. It's that they're like, it's got to have the music, and it's got to have the activate interlocks thing. And I'm like...
They did the activate interlocks once.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even, like, an informing mech thing. That was more of a... getting ready to fly off into space.
Which was a nice fun, and they did the "I'll form the head" when they're all like when he's piloting the Black Lion down to like land on top of the other ones, and that was cute.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was, but I
That was
mean,
pretty funny.
as much as I say as a not a hardcore OG Voltron fan that I'm like, oh, you don't need it, it's fine. But I say that also as the fan who is going to lose his mind if the new Digimon dub comes out and Joshua Seth isn't in it. So I get it, right? Like, I know
He better come
that's-
out. He better come out.
That's a whole other podcast. But
That's a whole other thing altogether. Digimon or whatever. Digimon is like another thing that me and Anthony are really passionate about.
oh yeah,
so,
no, I'm right there with you guys. You guys are probably bigger fans than I am. But like,
we don't know about that.
oh well, maybe not.
I don't know.
But relating that back is that every fan has the thing they want, right? But I think that they made the right decision. I mean, you read interviews with these executive producers, and they're like, "Oh, well, we wanted to do our own thing, and we didn't want the music because it wasn't what we wanted for the tone of our show." And at the end of the day, I think it's better to appeal to newer fans because, again, at the end of the day, you can be a hardcore fan of the OG Voltron, and even those hardcore fans are going to admit that, like, look, like the story was not all there, you know, like.
I'll be honest. Like, go ahead.
No, you go. I'm sorry.
I'll be honest. Like when I watched episode 1, like the 3-part opening thing on Netflix, I got done. Immediately messaged Anthony like, "Dude, what the crap? You told me this is actually good. What is wrong with you?"
What you
But
didn't
I was
like
like,
the
it is
premiere?
good.
You didn't like the 3-part premiere? The movie?
I had so many things that were disappointing to me. That
Really?
because coming from the 80s anime, coming from the everything else, I was just like, why are these things so different? But then as like episode 4 or 5 played, I was like, okay, I can dig this. And then by episode 12 or 11,
11. Well, because they
11.
counted the first 3 as one, so.
Okay, at the finale, I was like, wait, I need more, please.
Yeah.
Don't go away.
Yeah,
Don't leave me.
That's what I've heard from most
I
people.
need it.
Unless they're like die-hard fans of the original, in which case they were never going to accept this anyway, is that a lot of people either like loved it right off the bat like I did, or some people were like, don't know, and then as it went on, they got into it. But that's what's so helpful about Netflix, right? That you could get over that hump if you needed to.
Exactly. Like I started binging. I took that one break to talk to Anthony, and then I was like hooked like for the rest of the night.
Dude, I got up. Well, I'll tell my binging Voltron story in a second, but the other incarnations of Voltron, then there was Voltron the Third Dimension, which, like, mad respect to anybody who can get a television show on the air, right? Like, I understand. Yeah. Like, I'm not even going to talk about the CGI. It was awful, but, like, that was even though Beast Wars was on at the time, it was way better. Like, I get it, right? I get it. Yeah. But the show is, and I watched it all, like not just the 5 episodes that are on YouTube. I found other ways of watching the rest of the series. The show thinks it's like the most deep This show thinks it's Voltron Legendary Defender, but it's not, dude. It's so bad and like filled with this characterization that really makes no sense. And it's a sequel to the original show, but like they're still doing plots like, oh man, Pidge said I was dumb. Like. What?
Oh my god, that sounds terrible. But
I mean, dude, and they got like because in the original show, a guy named Neil Ross voiced Lance and Pidge. No, not Lance. Sorry, Keith and Pidge. And
I can see that.
And in the Voltron Third Dimension, he voiced Keith again, but he didn't voice Pidge. They got what's his face, the guy who plays Fry in Futurama, to voice Pidge. It's like, oh man, guys, I'm Pidge. All right, activate interlocks. Like that's not even close to the Fry voice, but you get what I'm saying. It was if you know Fry, that was closer to like my stereotypical fanboy voice. Oh, great guys, Voltron. Ugh. No, that was Dex. Jeez, that's a Masked Rider reference.
That sounds like Masked Rider.
So that's I don't know. After you watch all 20-something episodes of Voltron Third Dimension in like a week, it got like really burned into my mind for a minute there, and I've tried to forget. And still, the Voltron is the ugliest thing on the planet. Although, you know what? Like, here's the thing, is that I think that as much as Voltron Legendary Defender's writing staff has tried to like play it cool and be like, yeah, we just watched the OG Voltron, I swear that there are references to all the other versions, because in the original in Voltron Third Dimension, they have Stealth Voltron where they can turn invisible and it's stealthy, right? And then what happens in Legendary Defender? The Green Lion can go into a stealth mode. Just saying.
That's really interesting.
I don't know if that's intentional, like, I really don't. But even in, what was it, Voltron Force, all the individual pilots, unlike the original show, had, like, weapons. They had, like, guns and swords and stuff. And now what happens in the new series? They have the Bayards that turn into weapons. And I'm like,
those Bayards are freaking amazing.
Oh,
I love them.
Like, I feel like they took all the things from other Voltrons to make this one.
Yeah, like, I interviewed the head writer for the show, Tim Hedrick, and he had said that he had actually watched a few episodes of Voltron Force. He had read some Voltron comics, which I've never touched in my life. So there is a lot of influences, and I swear that, like, all right, so I think you all saw that I was tweeting about this. This is not, like, hard confirmed or anything, but there had been an article in, like, a Korean magazine, like, 2 years ago, that it said Voltron Legendary Defender was going to have, like, 70-something episodes. Which, if you broke it down, would be 6 seasons. And I would almost guarantee, and maybe, okay, I shouldn't say guarantee. I would hope that in like season 4 or something, they do an episode where there's a resistance group, and they're like, we wanted to be just like Voltron, and they have like these 15 vehicles that all like really ghetto-ly turn into a vehicle Voltron, right?
That would be hysterical. Oh my god. Okay, we need this to happen now.
Right? I mean, like...
We need that. Like, the Lions did, like, split into vehicles, like, for some all-terrain mission, like, where they have to go on, like, on a battle... Some kind of battle plan has to happen, where the Lions are split apart.
Yeah, I think that... I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. I mean, again, it can be literally anything. Also, should we wait for Anthony to come back in?
He'll pop back in.
He'll pop back in. Okay, so I think that would be really fun, and I think that would be really cool. But, yeah, dude, like, Voltron... Third Dimension, was not feeling it. I watched it all. That's the only other Voltron I've seen all of. I have not watched any Vehicle Voltron. I have not watched Go Lion or Die Rugger. Dude, when Voltron Force got announced, I was like, oh, like a new version of Voltron. This seems interesting. I'm one of like the 5 people who doesn't hate the opening theme. I think it's alright.
So, I was talking to Anthony about the Voltron stuff a few days ago when I told him I'm not liking the way that Voltron Legendary Defender began. And I said, I really prefer the way that they handled the 2011 rendition because it's a sequel, and I wanted a sequel more than anything else at the time. And he's like, Riz, did you really want that opening again? And like, I had to actually sit back and remember what the opening was. I had to go to YouTube and look it up because I blocked it on my memory.
Oh, Let's Voltron.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. Like, I don't think it's bad.
It's not terrible. It's just it's weird.
I think the problem is, like, as much as people say, like, oh, like, I want a sequel series. I mean, this is the thing, and I had friends telling me that too. Why couldn't this be a sequel? Why couldn't this be closer to the original? And my response to that, this is not like from a writer or anything. This is just as me as a person. They've already done sequel series twice. Third Dimension was a sequel, then Voltron Force was not a sequel to that. It was another sequel, a different sequel. So at that point, it's done that twice, and I feel like they just wanted to do their own thing, which I'm totally fine with, because if you do a sequel, it can get really, what's the word I'm looking for? It can get really bogged down in references and, like, alienating the audience, where here it's better to just start fresh, because again, like, there's a lot of stuff in the OG Voltron that if you started from square one, you could make really awesome. I mean, I know there was a comic series that did some of that, and so I think there's a lot of ground to cover. Now, again, like, that's not to say that, Voltron fans are wrong for wanting a sequel, and I'm sure that there will be some comic book that comes out that will continue the stories of the original in a couple years. I mean, as there has been many already.
Absolutely. I'm actually waiting for, season 2 or 3, if they continue the plan that's 70 episodes, they may actually start following some of the older things from the 80s and the Legendary Force stuff, not Legendary Lion Force. Because I feel like they're going to kill Zero at some point, or something's going to happen to Zero to where Keith has to become red.
I think something's going to happen to him. I don't know. I mean, we could go into theories about where it's going to go. I think we can talk about the show itself. This F it will be, which is probably should be at the end, but who cares? So, predictions. Predictions for the second season. Am I right? So, my predictions are we'll have 2 to 3 episodes. of just them having to re-find each other, and they might, because you know how at the end of the season, Keith got his little laser gun on the back of his lion, so I think they'll all discover extra weapons for themselves as well. Shiro will get messed up a little bit. Shiro might have to go away, and if in my world, in my perfect world, everyone keeps their colors, because that will annoy the crap out of me if they don't. And I think that Allura should pilot the Black Lion. That's my hope and dream.
I could see Allura piloting Black because she is more leader material in Distant Distance she has been in the last couple.
Yeah, because if I actually do like her personality in this series, like she just seems like she takes charge in this. Like, you know, she's become, even though like they really don't like her at first because she's kind of like comes off as like, you know, quote unquote a bitch. But
I wouldn't say that. I would more say
I wouldn't say that either.
She's just very alien to them, and she has this whole purpose, and they don't really know what's going on. So I think it just comes off. It's very alien, both literally and figuratively.
Oh, I was talking about the episode when they started that food fight.
Oh yeah, well that.
Oh,
they were all bitchy to each other in that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, Princess of what?
Yeah. So that's the weird thing, though, and I think that there is some validity to thinking Keith could become another pilot because Keith did not get a lot out of all the characters. Keith got the least to do in the first season, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta wonder, like, okay, and there's a lot of questions about him, like, why was his memory in the second episode just of that shack? Why doesn't he have memories of a family? Why did he not be able? Why couldn't he bond with the Red Lion right away? Why could he open that door in the enemy space fighter thing? Like, he could just open that, whereas no one else could. Now he's got all the quintessence all over his face, or whatever happened in that second to last episode, I believe. So
he was fighting. Was he fighting Haggard, or was he fighting?
That was Hagar.
Okay,
yeah. Hagar. So that's gonna be weird, right? Like, is he a robot? Like, was he a clone? Like, I think. Oh, also, my other wild prediction: Shiro will actually get taken over by the Hand, and he'll turn evil unwillingly.
The hand,
and he will become the new Prince Lotor, because as you can see, his hair went slightly white, and in the original series, Lotor had white hair.
Yeah, that's not looking good for him.
No,
he's not. Oh, also, prediction is that because Zarkon has the Bayard, that's the big, because you know how in the show they have a sword, but it's not the OG blazing sword, right?
Right.
Yeah.
My thing is, once they get that back, they'll be able to do the blazing sword, because as you saw in that episode, it was kind of a jagged sword a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's how
blazing sword.
It's not that, you know, that awesome sword we've all been expecting. It's
that completely impractical sword.
It still looked good.
It could be worse.
It's anime. I get it, right? Like, that we're already talking about giant robotic lions. All right, I'm not. But I guess we could talk about the premiere, right? Like, what were you not digging about the premiere? Like,
I had a couple of things I didn't like when I first started watching. First, I didn't understand the character of Zero being as assertive as he was the leader. I felt because in the 80s cartoon, Keith and was the leader. Like, he was the one in charge. He was basically Zero. But then we have Keith over here, and his personality, in my opinion, was split. Like, Lance's character in the 80s got split in two. One to make Lance in this rendition, and one to make Keith. Because Lance in the 80s was a big, like, player. Like, he was really into, like, you know, getting all the women. But he was also really arrogant and kind of hot-headed. So they split the women part of Lance into Lance and gave Keith all the hot-headedness. Whereas Keith didn't have the hot-headedness in the 80s, in my opinion. He was more calm and cool-headed.
He was kind of that, like, ideal leader who's like, all right, guys, let's do it. Let's form Voltron.
You did that really well.
I literally just listened to an interview with the voice actor who played him, and he was doing that, like, the whole he wasn't doing the voice the whole time, but it's very fresh in my mind. And it's not a simple voice, not to, like, to throw shade at the actor. It's just that it's that very command. And you've heard "Let's form Voltron" over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's something you're used to.
Yeah, it's better than how to do in Line Force. It's like more fast paced. Like, let's form Voltron.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, I am still 12 years old, and if you play a clip at twice the speed and everyone has pitched up voices, I think that's hilarious. Like,
Me too.
Very.
I wish I could be beyond that. And that also leads into my thing about Lance, right? I will tell you that almost all of my friends thought Lance's fart joke in the first episode was really dumb. I loved it because I'm like, that's the character. Like, that's like...
I freaking love Lance. Like, he's like my favorite character in the show.
Yeah.
I think also what you were mentioning, to go off another point, is that Lance, like, he got like the whole ladies man thing, but you know what else he got infused with? I don't know if you guys have ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Sokka, yep.
Yeah, he's Sokka. He's so just like how Hunk is definitely got some shades of Bolin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, yes.
And that's, I mean, those writers have types they like, and that's not a problem, because I think that Hunk and Lance are great. I think as the actors described at the WonderCon panel where they unveiled the show, they're space homies. And although I think I like the Hunk and Pidge stuff a little better, but but that premiere, man.
Yes, man.
I as a writer, I watched that premiere and I'm like, they covered so much ground so fast, and they introduced so much of the world so quickly. And I mean, they did that in a very smart way by, like, these characters don't know what's going on, and they find this lion. They only find the one lion, and they go flying, and they have a big old fight.
You're the worst pilot ever.
I call that kind of sequence like a chariot race sequence, because I'm taking that off the movie Prince of Egypt, where it's a great way to have fun while establishing things about your characters. And I think that scene is so funny, and it's so, like, tightly paced and so well edited. And the personalities of everybody are so on point. And dude, I'm going to tell you right now, like, from the minute that show was announced, I'm like, and I saw the promo art, I'm like, is Pidge a girl? Like, and they were sort of like, no, it's a guy. But when I saw the premiere, because I got to see the premiere early, there was that photo, and I was like, wait a minute. Yep,
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wait.
So, I was the only one to not catch on to that until it became obvious. Cool.
Well, that's because I was looking for it. Once it hit, like, episode 2, and there was, like, all this, like... Because if you go back and watch it, like, if you see how Pidge sits in a very feminine way. Like, Pidge does not have, like, her legs open like most guys do, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you see those things... See, when I was watching it, or I was thinking that Pidge was transgender, and I thought that the guy in the photo... or the girl in the photo, I should say, was like Pidge, and now, like, he would have transitioned. But no, it's just that it was Pidge is a girl, and...
That's what I thought, too, because I thought that, like, either Pidge, like, I thought that was, like, Pidge's, you know, like... before they actually revealed, like, who it actually was, I honestly thought that was, like, you know, like, that Pidge was secretly, like, transgender, but, like, that was, like, his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I thought he was in the girls, so, like, you know, like, that would make sense, you know, he's a girl, you know.
No, but see,
because it fits the actress, because the actress, you know, plays, you know, a chick who's lesbian in the Scream, the TV series. I don't know if y'all watch it or not, but
I hear she's great in it. I hear she's awesome.
Yeah, she's really great in it, and
she's a great actress.
And also, yeah, she was in Arrow for a couple seasons too.
Yeah, she was Sarah's friend, right? Like,
yep. Mm-hmm.
I forget the girl's name.
Oh, she had a name. I know she did.
But
the thing about Pidge was that, okay, so they reveal Pidge as a girl, but the thing is that Pidge does not go back to using the Katie name. She keeps wanting to be called Pidge. So my thought is like, oh, maybe and she's still kind of wearing these somewhat more masculine clothes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe there's something more to the show. Like, maybe in the seasons down the line, Pidge will be like, oh, like, maybe I'm not a guy or a girl. It's like a genderqueer thing, or maybe I am a guy. Like, I think
that'd be really progressive.
Overstepping the, achieving the boundaries between, you know, like, what you think you are, and, like, you know.
Which I think in a show that has a giant transforming robot, I think it'd be super dope to have a trans character.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And also, I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter what the gender is, because C fits the mold of what the Voltron pilot has to be. So
the show's still awesome.
Female, like, it doesn't hurt to sew one bit. It doesn't really make it worse or better. Just
Yeah.
she is what she is,
I think at the end of the day, even if they don't do anything else and Paige is just a girl from now on, they still gender swapped a character from the original show, and I think that's
and it works really well. Like, I could not believe how well it worked.
I think,
like,
and they give her more to do than just, oh, I'm the girl, right? Like, there's all the tech stuff. There's even more stuff than just the brother thing, and which that's a reference to Vehicle Voltron, because in the original show, Paige had a brother on the Vehicle Voltron team. Obviously, it wasn't true in the Japanese because those two series weren't connected, but they said, oh, these characters look kind of alike, let's say they're brothers.
So I'm not crazy, that really did happen. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
I couldn't
totally
remember
a
the ending.
reference.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, yeah, like, I when I interviewed all the producers and stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, like we didn't watch Vehicle Voltron. I'm like, okay, yeah, but you totally read, like, a wiki page, right? And you totally saw that, and you're like, oh, well, let's put that in there. Don't you lie to me. Don't you lie to me. I know they can't say everything. Like, they were totally being coy about the pitch thing right off the top, which I get, right? Like, they wanted to save that.
Yeah, it goes, yeah.
But a lot of people, when the show was coming out, they're like, why is there 5 guys in the main team? Like, why would they not change that? And I was sort of like, no, just wait. This is totally going to be either trans or a girl. I know it. Just look at that design, right? Like,
yeah.
I had my suspicions because I was like, when I first watched that intro, I was like, okay, it's supposed to be a guy's voice, but they used a girl. Like, I was curious about that. I was like,
It's just good. Yeah, you think like, oh, it's just because it's like it's the youngest of all of them, and it just worked. And also, the Pidge voice in the original show, obviously it was a guy doing it, but it was very like, I know. So there were some people who like,
oh my god, like
some people like did not know that Pidge was supposed to be a guy in the original show. I've heard that from many fans, and I think that that's really interesting. I mean, as I
saw it on your Twitter.
He sounds like a Muppet, though. It's just like,
all
right, guys, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's fight. Let's fight.
Let's fight. Let's form Voltron. And
Voltron.
the original actor said in the interview about he's like, oh, how'd you come up with the voice of Pidge? He's like, well, I had gotten the Keith role, and they came up to me first day of recording, and they're like, oh, you're gonna do this guy too. And he just looked at a photo of Pidge, and he was panicking. He's like, oh my gosh, if I can't do this, they're gonna fire me. So he made up the voice off the top of his head, and he thought that it was like, oh, this is just a 1-episode character. I won't have to keep doing this. Whoops.
Joke's on you, buddy.
Whoops.
Which is good, right?
You.
Like,
no, actually, what's really funny is that like I don't know if you guys ever seen the show. It's called Duckman, and the guy from Seinfeld,
Jason Alexander.
Yeah. He actually had the same problem. He was like, okay, well, I do this, this loud, screaming, booming voice for like one episode, like it's like one time thing, and do it more. Next thing you know, he's doing it for 75 episodes.
Well, isn't that great in Voltron?
Yeah.
That now Pidge sounds like a human being.
Like, thank God.
There's some fan out there who's like, why doesn't Pidge sound like he used to? And they're not wrong for wanting that, but you got to think like, okay, but like as cheesy and as fun as that is, it's a little easier to relate to the character. Because this, I would say, from what I've seen of OG Voltron, this show is aimed at a slightly older audience.
It really is.
It is.
I mean, it's still parents to the the kids, but we can totally see that it's involving more of the older audience section.
Yeah, it's
like it did with Korra,
Yeah, definitely Korra. Like, it's definitely that Korra, like, kind of late tween, early teen kind of, and I mean, obviously adults like ourselves are loving it and enjoying it. And that was the intent. So I guess we can run. All right. So what about? Okay. So Shiro, Space Dad, is
most definitely, yeah.
Space dude. That fandom is so in love with Shiro being the dad of that team.
Like, Shiro's such a cool guy. Like, I like him now that I've given him a chance. Like, I felt bad for giving him so much shade in the beginning. I was like, this dude's terrible. Let him die already. Like, he didn't.
No, he's so good.
He is good. Like, he's amazing. But I didn't get that in the beginning because I was so angry at the fact that it wasn't exactly like the 80s cartoon, and that really was a bad way to look at it,
Yeah.
The one thing I actually enjoy about this show that it has layers, and I love series that have layers to them. It's not just the usual cliche of fight giant robot, we fight, win, blah blah blah. Episode over.
They barely had fights.
Barely had fights. It involved most about the characters. Voltron was basically just there as a plot. He's not actually used often, but he is important, which I love.
When they use him,
the titles.
There you go.
the title is Voltron. I mean, he has to be important at some point, but he's not like the focal point of like the entire series. He's just the plot point to get things going.
Yeah, it's
the
not...
characters that would make this one better.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, we got to form Voltron every single episode, which like that kills like the pacing of a show dead if they had to set up a Robeast every episode and they had to have the fight. And again, there are some people who genuinely wanted that to be what the show is, and I think I'm quoting a Voltron fan from the Voltron podcast where he's like, if it's a retread, why bother, right? Like, if it's just like the old one, just go watch the old one. Here, you're right. The characters are so much more important. The characters are so well defined. I love every single one. I mean, this is for me, and I've said it many times on Twitter, this is the perfect show for my kind of sensibility. And I think you guys know, especially as fans of the tokusatsu genre and Power Rangers, I've said it a million times, like, this is the show that I wish Power Rangers was. I wish Power Rangers had characters like this. And I know it's a little difficult because of footage and different, like, it's not Netflix, I get it, but...
And Saban being Saban.
And Saban's being Saban, but...
yeah, because when Dino Charge's first premiere, like, I do enjoy the characters. I do enjoy how the characters are.
But they haven't done anything. Like
But they haven't done anything. Yeah, they haven't done anything.
Here, like, we're getting development. Like, by like the end of the season, you're like, oh god, these guys are changing a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
I know
they definitely are.
I know these guys after just watching it. I'll count 13 because it's 11 technically. I count as 13 because I count the 3 episodes as separate.
Yeah.
So
Hunk had so much development. Oh my god.
Oh, Hunk. Probably my favorite character because, one, he's just hilarious, and I think my favorite line was in the premiere where they're going to get the yellow lion and they're getting fired on. He's like, no, I don't want to be crying. I'm already crying.
Right. Like, I didn't really, like, in the beginning I was like, okay, Hunk is this really tough dude. Why are they making him so pansy? But now that I'm seeing it, it's like...
It
fits him so well. Like, in this... And that's the biggest problem I had with Voltron, like, before. I was so engraved in this one format that the slightest things about the new one turned me off until I got over it. And now that I've gotten over it all, I love it. The only thing I wish they do a little bit differently is Koron, but that's a whole nother topic.
We'll get to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, Hunk, like, I love the line. I mean, I could just go over my favorite lines all day. I love the line, and I think it was the second episode, where he says, where, like, Karan, like, locks all their arms together, and they're like, all right, you have to, like, work together to eat. And Hunk is like, Karan, think about what you're doing.
He loved the space goo. He loved it.
Yeah,
great.
Dude. He was, I love in the 9th episode, which we'll talk about later, is my favorite episode. He, like, he's trying to, like, get, like, the stuff to shoot out, and he, like, puts, the nozzle in his face, like... Mm-hmm. Oh, and, of course, the greatest exchange in the whole series, for me, between Pidge and Hunk, where Pidge is like, oh, curse my short arms, and Hunk is like, oh, I know, I hate those things.
Those things.
The character interplay is so good because, like, they don't just feel the need to say all their feelings. They just have fun. Like, that was the thing that shocked me about this show, was how funny it was. That there was so much humor, and it's like, it's not all like, grr, we gotta be serious, or like, oh yeah, we gotta be heroes. It's like, no, I know it's hard to forget, especially like, okay, like, I know they said Shiro's supposed to be like 17 or 18, but I'm like, that guy is at least 25.
He's 25 or older, and then the rest of these guys, they're space cadets, they're students, they're meant to be having fun, they're not supposed to be like taken seriously yet in the academy.
Yeah, which makes Lance's fart joke like more acceptable to me also, because if he's supposed to be like 16, I'm like, yeah, that's a 16-year-old thing to do. So, and then of course, we talked about Pidge, and the tech person is the girl, and I love it. And then we have Keith with his mullet. He did not get that much, right? Like, he got so, like, we didn't even get to hear what, well, actually, no, that's for Lance. Yeah, Keith has the mullet, doesn't really have too much of a backstory. He wants to impress Shiro, and he's got the budding friendship / bromance / whatever shipping goggles you want to wear.
He secretly loves Shiro, but he's actually going accustomed to wanting Lance. Like,
That's the way. Somebody has been looking up Voltron fan art on Tumblr, because let me tell you what.
You know it.
Tumblr, DeviantArt, everything.
There's some great fan art. There's a lot of scary fan art. Where I'm like, okay, guys, let's just remember these are supposed to be teenagers. Like, let's just remember that. Otherwise, like, there's a lot of great stuff out there. Hell, a lot of the artists from the show post their own fan art of their characters. Like, there was the one guy who posted the Voltron / Lupin the Third crossover fan art. And I'm like, oh, they're fanboys too. I love it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, dude. I'll
I've
tell you.
never seen that.
After. Oh yeah, it's so
Yeah,
great.
tell me that.
They have it's Lance. So it's like Lance the Third as, or maybe it was Cher, I don't remember. They had Lance dressed up as Lupin, and they had Allura as like some girl from it. And I was
Some girl.
some girl from Lupin the Third. I've barely seen. I've seen like that movie, and that's it. I've seen the one that Hayao Miyazaki directed. That's it.
Oh, that's all you gotta see.
Oh, I'm just such a casual fan. And oh, dude, Lance, my boy Lance. So great, dude. Like he's such like a chucklehead. But then there's that scene in the 3rd or 4th episode where he goes to Koran and he's like, "Well, how far away is Earth?" And he's like, Koran's like, "All the way over." And it's a funny moment. But then Lance looks so sad because he has a big old family.
Yeah, and Lance is like a really family guy. It's not like he probably went into this like the academy to protect his family or in like his own mind. So he's doing his duty right now to protect his family, and that's all he really wanted. And him being so far away is like
He's
kind of pulling his strings a lot. Yeah.
I mean, at least with like with Pidge, like she has a reason why, like I can I gotta stay my dad, my brother. That's what's driving her, because it's just her mom. She knows her mom's fine. Like her mom's fine. She's just that she's just distraught about losing her both her
Brother,
boy,
father.
Yeah, her boy and her her husband. So you're thinking like, okay, well she's fine. Like I miss her too, but like not as much as I miss my my dad who's been missing.
Yeah.
I also another missing father story.
Yeah, that's.
I just noticed that.
Here's also the thing, right? Is that the whole first season is about everybody finding their reason to fight. Like Keith and Shiro pretty much were down. Like Shiro was like, "I'm gonna protect the universe. That's the kind of guy I am, and I gotta protect my other guys." Keith is like, "I'm gonna follow Shiro," and again, he doesn't really have a complicated backstory, but I think there's gonna be more revealed. Layers. An onion.
Layers.
Yeah.
Yay.
Lance kind of, what was his reason? Was it just that he wanted to protect he didn't have as big a reason. He was kind of like, I want to flirt with Allura.
It was not only flirting with Allura, it was also competing with Keith. Like, you gotta remember, Keith's a rivalry with the two of them.
Yeah,
but
they have.
It's like, hey, remember we were rivals. Who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
So there's that, but I think in the 2nd or maybe even 3rd season we're gonna, and that's the great thing. If they knew they were gonna have 6 seasons at the start, they could plan these long story arcs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he's gonna have to look for his reason, especially when he starts missing his family. Pidge, obvious. Hunk got the biggest. I have to figure out why I'm fighting.
Oh my god, yes. Like
the
Hunk was.
He was kind of like, I don't know about this. Like, maybe we can go home. But when the whole Balmera thing, and he got...
Balmera has got to be like one of my favorite episodes.
Let me just say, I'm real glad first brother who gets a romance in this show is the big fat guy.
I know, right?
And with an alien, no less.
Hope. It gives me so much hope.
And you know what? And the girl does not... she's not all animated out with, like, boobs flying everywhere. She is a rock person, and therefore they don't need breasts. Thank God.
Yeah. Like, Hunk is such a mix of Sokka and Bolin, it hurts.
Oh my God.
In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah, I definitely think he's got more of the Bolin. But he's also got obviously a little bit more of himself. He's just this kind of lovable guy, and he's not quite as like thirsty as Bolin was at points.
Oh.
Yeah, Lance got a little more of that.
But he definitely got like the Sokka storyline with the moon lover and all that.
Yeah.
Greatest line in animation history. My first girlfriend turned to the moon. That's right. And that whole Balmera thing where they went there and then they had to come back, and then there's this whole spiritual thing about the planet. Like, they take their time with these things that you think they won, and then no.
Like, the planet is a thing.
It's an animal.
It's an animal,
creature.
It's a creature. It lives, it breathes. I love it.
So then we've got, all right, so Allura, obviously, we talked about her being all the princess and whatnot, but she's really take charge, man. Unlike in the original show, which, I know there are some people who loved Allura and Keith and Allura in the original show, but come on now, this character is killing it right now. Like,
Allura's killing it hardcore.
She is much
Yeah.
memorable than the last 2 incarnations we had. Well, technically 3.
Three, if you really want to be, yeah.
If you really want to count the third dimension, which I don't want to.
No, but you gotta remember, Samus does counted, so it has to exist. So.
Yeah.
It does count, and she's basically, it's just a continuation of the original show. I mean, it's the same voice actress, so it is basically the same thing. That's a weird thing about that show. Tim Curry was Lotor. He's the best part of that show.
I know, right?
Yeah.
There's reason I want to watch it, but I couldn't get past the first 3 minutes.
So Koran, like, what's your beef with Koran? You're not feeling him?
Koran, like, okay, I get having the comic relief in the other 5, like, that's cool, but I feel like having Allura and Koran both kind of being there to reel him back into reality, like, hey, you're the Voltron Force, is a lot stronger than Koran being, like, he looks like that guy from the Wild Thornberrys. I forget his name.
Nigel Thornberry?
Nigel Thornberry.
Tim
He
Curry
reminds
again.
me too much of Nigel Thornberry. And, I don't know, I just feel like we need, like, one serious character to kind of balance out the rest of the stuff. And in my mind, I'd always do Koran, because Koran's the old butler kind of guy. Whereas over here, he's not really like a butler. He's more like just, I don't know. Like
he was
I can't explain
described as Allura's major domo, and I think Allura fits more into the reeling them in. She's not having a ton of fun with these guys, not yet anyway.
No,
not yet.
She's like taking things very seriously. Like she'll get them up just to train for, like, to form Voltron, and that's why, like, they got frustrated with her, because, like, she's working us to the bone, man. Like we need a break. Like.
Mm-hmm.
And then
let us party or do something.
So then Hagar doesn't get much. She's kind of, I mean, her voice sounds great. I mean,
oh yeah,
Cree Summer is rocking that. And then my boy Neil Kaplan kicking some ass I'm like, dude,
that Zarkon's a great Zarkon.
That is an amazing Zarkon. I mean, like, no disrespect to Kevin Michael Richardson from Third Dimension who played Zarkon.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to whoever played him in the original show, but, like,
I don't know who played him.
He's playing this, like, the Voltron Legend Defender Neil Kaplan. He's playing it like he is. I mean, this is also coming from the interview I did with him. He's playing it like he's in charge of the galaxy, and he is. He's got this swagger and this confidence. He's not like overconfident. Like, he knows he's got this. He's got this on lock. And I mean, dude, and this is a moment that in the finale where, when Zarkon can take on a lion by himself yeah, like, no robot, just by himself, I'm like, that is an amazing we're effed moment.
You really are effed at that point.
Yeah, like
we're so effed.
Not even the original ones, like, even thought, like, okay, I'm the most powerful being in the universe. If I can fight a lion or without my suit or anything, any type of, like, help, I will do it.
And that just shows that, like, oh, dude, these guys do not have a prayer unless they get better. Because that's the thing, is that Voltron has, as even the first season demonstrated, there's a lot to unlock with Voltron. And even in some interviews, they said, like, yeah, Voltron will change a little bit over time. And I'm like, well, I'm sure, one, that'll help with toys. Yeah. And now, but there's more to access about Voltron. And you can also, with an inference that since 10,000 years have passed, that maybe Voltron isn't the strongest thing in the galaxy anymore.
No.
I don't think he is anymore, because Allura keeps saying it, but I keep thinking 10,000 years and there's not anything more Voltron than Voltron right now in existence.
And,
like, you just made this one mystical machine that can't be topped even after 10,000 years of science, technology, and magic. I find it hard to believe.
Well, here's the thing about Allura's people too, and about Voltron and all that. This is a theory, right? Because there's a line where Koran talks about how his grandfather built the Castle of Lions like 600 years ago from his perspective. Yeah. So you got to think, okay, so Alteans are long-lived, right? Mm-hmm. So my theory is Zarkon is Altean, and it's over the 10,000 years he's, like, evolved into that kind of messed up looking face, and he's also probably absorbed a ton of that quintessence, and that's what's done to him. And maybe that'll happen to Keith as well. He'll get a little messed up as well, and like, maybe, or there's the really far out theory that, like, Zarkon is actually Allura's father. Like, I don't think that's the case.
Please don't do that. Please don't.
I am your father.
Dun, dun,
I think Darth Vader was good enough for that one.
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't think
imagine-
that's the case. Him being Altean is a possibility, I feel like.
Oh, definitely, most definitely. I've thought about that actually.
Oh, and let's not forget the other greatest characters in the show, the Erusians.
The Erusians are funny.
Oh, dude, those things are trippy. I thought they were on acid during that part for in the beginning.
No, I love.
I love the part where like one of them is hugging Keith, right, and he's just like, "You're awfully cuddly, thank you." like,
Keith's
what?
face
big
just goes
deal.
like,
You're awfully cuddly.
"Thank you."
Thank you. Like, what? I was expecting a kid. I was expecting no grown man voice.
I loved. Someone did a screen cap where it was the dance of apology and it had the little subtitle called like "Now you'll do the dance of apology," and the caption under it was "When he really need to apologize."
Yes.
And a fun fact. A fun fact for all you guys in the audience who might not know, quite a few of the Erusians are actually based on some of the animators for the show. That
Really?
if you look, the Erusian that's going to be sacrificed on the fire is based on the design supervisor Christine Bayan. I can't remember how you pronounce it for the life of me, even though I interviewed her. And if you look in one of the scenes at the start of the following episode, a bunch of the guys in the foreground there are also based on the animators as well.
Oh wow.
Trivia, what's up? Just follow every Voltron crew member on Tumblr and you'll learn things too.
Yeah, I need to start using Tumblr more, I guess.
I have gone all in on this show. It is a little sad in a great way that like this show is like my everything now. I'm like this is the new hype. Like I'm tired
We need more.
I'm tired of being disappointed by certain other kids' franchises not naming any names.
Sentai.
Power Rangers. What? Oh man.
Lawnmowers.
It's maybe not a fair comparison, right? Netflix, it's the team behind Avatar and Korra, right? Like these guys are at the top. And even
And
then,
I will say this: DreamWorks did a phenomenal job on this.
Mm-hmm. They got the right team, though, right? Like that's
Like the right team. Yes, the right team get the right series. They get a good feedback from your audience. You know.
Well, not only that is that they went right from Legend of Korra to this show, so that team was already in place. Because I mean, if any of you out there have seen Legend of Korra, and even if you haven't, everybody knows that the first 2 seasons of Legend of Korra were a little uneven. This season 1 finale got a lot of flack at the time because that's all they thought they were going to get. So there was a lot of start and stop. So it was sort of like, oh, we can't really build up a storyline because it might end. And now, if they've got 6 seasons, there's so much room to breathe, and all these writers are so experienced. And that's one of the things I loved, going back to the comedy, is that the head writer, Tim Hedrick, was like, yeah, I don't think that comedy necessarily undercuts drama, and I think it actually enhances it.
I actually think that like the comedy kind of helps, like for like when you're always dealing with the sad moments, you can always have some good moments too.
Yeah. And how like there to do them, it's great.
Or one of my other favorite Hunk lines is when they're first all together, all 5 lions are together, and they're like, "How do we form Voltron?" And he just crashes into Shiro. Combine.
Fuck.
You're not doing it right.
Right.
Or in the second episode where they're all like Hunk gets on top, and it's like what? It's like no, I was definitely the head last time. You said I'm a leg. I said a lot of things.
My favorite is in the first episode, and they're flying, and Hunk's like, I think I'm gonna be sick. And he goes all over like the electronics and I think the line that they're in at the time.
Yeah.
That sucks.
One of my favorite lines from Hulk is when they're all about to form Voltron. They're like, like, you guys ready to form Voltron? He's like, right. And then he goes like, was everybody nodding when that happened? Was everybody nodding? He's like, they're like, yes. Because I love him. Because I love that they actually point that out. Like it's like, okay, we're all in sync. We're about to get it together. But then again, you're thinking like, is everybody doing the same thing I'm doing? Like, I can't tell.
It's a great. There's just enough self-referential humor where it isn't becoming a parody. That there is. It's like in the training episode where they're all flying. They're like, yeah. Oh, are we still pretending to be excited?
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to bring up something from the Voltron Force series that that came on a couple years back. There was actually one particular line I did like in the episode. And yeah, shocking, right? I like Voltron Force actually did something.
There are a
right
lot of
for him.
people who do. You're not the only one.
Voltron Force did a lot of things right, actually, but that's just my opinion.
It was the throwaway line with like I can't remember the guy's name to save my life, but he was one of the newer members that joins later on. He
One of
pointed
the
out
three
that
kids. One of the three kids.
why,
Right?
yeah, he pointed out that okay, the bad guys aren't gonna wait for us to transform to Voltron. Like we literally are gonna be sitting ducks while we're transforming. So like we need to fix that.
Flash mode!
And that's okay. I will say the only thing about Voltron Force that kind of put me off right off the bat was like the lion animation, great, like really awesome, love it. The character animation was not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weak. It was pretty weak. Those designs and the way they moved, I'm like, ooh, this is a little too close to a Flash cartoon. Little too close.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like you ever watch like any of those PBS kids shows? Like that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, a little bit. I know exactly the kind of where there's just not, unlike this show, there's just not that full range of movement. There's kind of like a limited frame. I'm not an animation person, but it seemed a little more limited than it needed. I guess they put all the money into the lions, right?
Most likely, yeah.
Most likely.
And the lions in this show, God, like the 3D and the 2D animation blends together so seamlessly.
They did a great job with it.
Mm-hmm.
The design of the lions are great.
Intro, even though I'm not really a big fan, I wish they had kept the the Voltron music theme. But
I want to guess that like once you hit whenever they form Blazing Sword for the first time in like season,
they might
4,
have it then.
That's when you'll hear like the same riff. It won't be exactly the same. It'll be still be in that heavy synth sound they're going for, which is very 80s. So true to that. In that,
I mean, they are doing 80s formats here, so it works.
Yeah, I do like the intro though, even though there's no lyrics to it. It's actually just cool seeing all the lions, like the pilots, the paladins, I should say, in the doing their own thing.
It's a great looking intro. I think the music for the show, I don't think it's my favorite score ever. It's not, but it does what it's supposed to do, and it does it very, very well. It's not bad. It's just not my favorite. It's not my favorite. Nothing can, not everything can be your favorite, right?
Right. I think my favorite episode, if I had to pick one from all of them that I've seen, it would have to be the one where the castle has been infected, and everyone's like freaking out, like, what's going on? The food's attacking me!
That's easily my favorite episode by a mile. I love ship run amok episodes. And it's a great way for the characters to bond with each other, and there's a lot of funny moments. But then there's Shiro like losing his mind when Sendak is basically mind torturing him, and he's getting these like mad PTSD things going. And there's so much more. And Sendak's still out there. He's floating out in space doing something.
Yeah. I doubt he's dead because
he'll be back one day. Don't worry.
He's one of those villains like I come back. I always come back.
Yeah.
So I loved Lance getting trapped in the freezing pod. That was great.
Great.
Oh, speaking of freezing pods, right? Okay, so when this show started, like I thought to myself, there's no way the Space Mice are going to be in the show. They're too corny. They're too dumb. Like if I was rebooting Voltron, that's the first thing I'd be like, nah, gone. But no, the Space Mice are in this show,
and they kept them,
and they do well.
They're really great. They're so cute.
They are so adorable.
They're not.
But
They're
also
not
like
overplayed.
they serve a good purpose. Yeah.
They inform Allura that Pidge is a girl, which I thought was really that's also one of my favorite exchanges in the series. It's like, do you have something to like tell me? Yeah, I like peanut butter, and I like peanut butter cookies.
They're cheese.
But I don't like peanut butter. I'm like, Pidge, I get you. Peanuts are terrible.
Yes.
And also, I get sweaty, but like that's nothing to do with the peanuts.
I want them to do.
It's kind of like when you like. It's kind of like when like dealing with a friend where you're telling them, like, I get it. I know how you are now. Like you can tell me, like, if you have a secret you want to tell me, like you're gay or you're trans, you can tell me. I'm the type of guy. I'm that type of guy that'll be like. You can tell me. I don't care. Like, like that's your thing. That's cool. I just want you to tell me.
Yeah.
I love Allura's troll face. There's there one frame where she's just like she's got this super like kind of derpy face where she's just like. But the space mice I went to the Voltron art show in Los Angeles and they had a space mice print by the co-executive producer Lauren Montgomery who I believe designed the space mice, and they're so cute and I see that every morning when I have like 4 Voltron pieces up on my wall now.
Really?
The hype is so real, man. If you go to Hero Complex Gallery and you search Voltron, you can buy some of these prints and they are gorgeous. So gorgeous. It's the new hype. Just if you want to not have any money in your wallet, that's the way to do it.
I'm gonna have to lose some money now.
Some of them are relatively cheap. You can get some good ones, and these are done by like the crew of the show, right? Not that there's anything wrong with fan art. Fan art's great, but this is done by the crew, and it shows. All right, hold on one second, guys.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely love the feel of this cartoon. Like once I got past my reservations with it, though, I must say, Anthony, and I'll tell Sam when he gets back.
Right.
We need to have Space Mice Voltron again, like in the '80s cartoon.
Yes.
It must happen because holy crap! Could you imagine like the mice like forming their own little space Voltron to go to their own missions?
That would be adorable, and I would watch it every day.
It needs to actually. You know what? No. We need a spin-off. There needs to be a spin-off of this now. I have settled this. We're making a spin-off for the Space Mice, and they will have like their own Voltron like thing, and they go on like their own little derpy adventures with like the stone people on what was the planet called?
Are we still talking? I'm back. All right.
Yeah. So we're discussing my newest idea.
What's your newest idea?
We need a spin-off of Voltron for the Space Mice, and they have like their little '80s Space Mice Voltron thing.
Oh my god!
And they like just protect. They protect the little Alteran. Is that what they're called? Alteran.
The Erusians. The Erusians.
Erusians. The Erusians. Yeah. They protect the Erusians on a daily basis, and I think that'd be fantastic.
I want a spinoff. I want toys of the Erusians. Let me tell you. I want plushies. There at the art show there were plushies of the Space Mice, but it was done by the crew, and you kind of wanted a more streamlined version. I would love an Erusian plushie. I think I said this on Twitter. I think that if they played their cards right, and I don't think this needs to happen, but if they wanted to, this show could have like spin-off after spin-off after, like you could have tie-in novels, and I'm talking like a Star Wars level of like those guys in like the 6th or 7th episode, those like sort of they weren't bounty hunters, they were like whoever those people were. The one that was also voiced by somebody from The Walking Dead. The girl.
Steve Yeun?
No, not Steve Yeun. I know he voiced Keith. There was the one that like Lance had a thing for, and then she like totally handcuffed him to a thing. That episode.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember their names. And the robot. But I think you could do a novel about them. Like I would love this to have like a big old expanded universe. They don't have to. 6 seasons or whatever is totally enough to get my fill for a franchise. But I think if they wanted to, they could really open. because even as showing like that spinning of the whole galaxy, there's a whole galaxy they have to protect and explore, and there's a lot of potential. They could really turn this into a franchise.
Norman Reedus.
There we go. Right?
Like Norman Reedus?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
I didn't know he was in this as well.
Yeah, dude. They're just
power
of Netflix, man. Making it happen, dude.
I guess I got the budget for that. Then
I guess since you got Steven Yeun, I guess Steven Yeun was like, "Hey, buddy, you could want to come in for what's the character Voltron?" He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I guess.
That's you know what? This cast is so good. Holy crap! Like there is not a weak actor in even if you don't like the characters, they are all playing it to like.
Oh yeah.
They're so in it, and it would be so easy for everybody to be like a Hollywood star, right?
Yeah, and just be like, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just coming in here. I'm gonna film like they would get like I don't know Justin Bieber to be Keith or something, right? Like it would be terrible. That would be terrible.
It would.
But that's how this show could have gone, right? It would be so easy for the show to be like that. But it's not. They got people who clearly. These are obviously a lot of experienced actors or voiceover people. Obviously, Josh Keaton is very well known as Peter Parker from Spectacular Spider-Man. He was great in that show.
Mhm.
He was great in Green Lantern. Cree Summer, who played Hagar, very, very, very well established. There was also Kimberly Brooks, who plays Allura, she's in Steven Universe, and she plays Jasper in Steven Universe, for all of you who are fans.
Yeah, I've watched Steven Universe.
Never seen it. I probably should at some point, though, just to give it an
I hear it's very good. I have not seen it myself.
It's pretty good. I haven't watched the entirety of it. I'm just only still watching season 1 because it's like an episode format. You only every episode it's like 13 or like 11 minutes long. So
that'll do it.
Between they'll have like maybe one episode that's like a full 20 minutes or so.
Right.
Then you got Sin, who plays the girl in Arrow. Well, her character is Sin.
Bex Taylor Klaus. And she's been in a couple different things. And Arrow, Scream. She's been in. I know I'm forgetting a big one.
iZombie.
iZombie. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one. There's some. I feel like I'm forgetting a big one. And I feel like The Killing. The Killing. That was it. And she was apparently very, very good in that. And then we also
she's just killing it. Like literally, she is killing it.
Well, I mean, she is an iZombie. No pun intended.
Tyler
Labine. I don't know if you guys ever watched the show Reaper, but he was hilarious.
I remember Reaper. Have you ever seen what was it? Tuck and
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Yes, yes, that's him. That's the
also featuring our boy from Power Rangers, Brandon J. McLaren. I was like, "What's up?" And so he's so great. And they got Rhys Darby, he was on Flight of the Conchords and a bunch of other probably British stuff. To be Karan. I mean, again, even if you don't like the guy, he's playing that part.
I like him.
Rhys looks so much like Karan at her. It's amazing to me. I'm looking at a photo on Wikipedia right now.
And of course, we mentioned Neil Kaplan is just murdering it as Zarkon. And then of course, Steve Yeun as Keith. Rocking it, loving it. And even though I don't remember her name, she tweeted at me the other day. The girl who plays Shay, the rock lady, she's really good too. Even in
they're all great.
I think they also have a good director and this show.
Netflix has so much money to do amazing stuff. It's amazing what they're doing right now.
It really is. I'm delighted that this show, because this show could have so easily been just kind of it's kind of there. It's fun for nostalgia, but it doesn't really have anything new to offer to new fans. And I'm sure you guys have seen it on Twitter and elsewhere online. This show is really blowing up with people. I think it's going to just blow up as more and more people discover it.
One of our other staff members was talking about it on the way to BioCon the other day. Mm-hmm. She hadn't really watched a lot of Voltron. She watched a little bit here and there, but not religiously like we did. And she watched it, and she's like, Riz, I love the new Voltron. It's amazing. And I'm like, yes, more people are loving Voltron.
And that's the good thing, right? That a lot of people now will be like, hey, where did the show come from? And they'll want to check out the old stuff. They'll want to go back and rewatch OG Voltron. And maybe some of them will be like, this is old, I don't care. But it keeps the brand alive, and I think a lot of people I at some point I would love to watch all of OG Voltron. If I sit through Third Dimension, I think I can watch.
You
OG
got
Voltron.
this. You got this. Okay, I watched all of Voltron, the original, again, maybe 6 years ago. It was still really good.
Was it just Lions, or did you watch Vehicle 2?
Never watched Vehicle. I watched episode 1 of Vehicle a week ago.
So that's right. So. Maybe, I don't know, this, I want to hug Legendary Defender. It's so good. It is.
I love it.
Also, you may freak out over this one, but I found on that Hero Complex thing you're talking about, they have a plus of the Space Mice living in the castle ship.
I've seen that. I just saw that just recently.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
These guys are great.
I don't think there was anything about the show that I really disliked. There was no missed beat. There was no I kind of wish they had done this. I think it's a perfect introduction to what is set up for the future. And the characters are so good. Oh, dude, my Voltron watching, I was going to tell this story earlier. I had seen the premiere, and I was like, dude, I'm so hyped for the show. And I was I had to go to work that Friday, but I was like, I gotta see this before I go to work. So I got up at 3 a.m. and I sat there and I watched the rest of the episodes. Thankfully, because of the premiere, there was only like 9 or whatever, or 10. And I was like, oh my God. And I couldn't, and I was like so messed up the rest. I had to like shoot video for a graduation. It was awful. But
Oh man, that sucks.
But it was worth. It was so worth. Because you know what happened? The next day, watched it all again. Well, also because I was doing that review for Den of Geeks, so I had to like take notes.
Right, yeah.
Oh, dude. And I think that anybody who is like, because I've been telling everybody, I'm like, this is the best thing on TV, like Game of Thrones, just go somewhere else, because the real king of television is here, and people hear that and they're like, oh, dude, Shamus, what are you talking about? It's just a kid show. I'm like, no, man, like, just
it's not kids though.
Yeah, and all of us have said this, whether it's about anime, Power Rangers, or whatever. Just because kids can watch it does not mean that there's not entertainment to be found for adults.
Oh yeah,
most definitely, yeah.
I wish more shows had humor like Voltron. I wish more action series, because like these days, if you have an action series, more likely than not, except for some shows, like there's a show on Sci-Fi called Killjoys, which I love and I think has a very similar tone. Most action shows are very serious.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad, just not for me.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the shows that can balance the two out to a point where you can, not get overwhelmed with either too much comedy, too much action. There's a nice little intermediate there.
Good balance,
Yeah.
I think that... No, you go, man. So I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's just that, like, I was, like, kind of worried. Like, I was like, okay, like, what if the phone was lying to me? What if it's claiming it's good, but it's not gonna be actually good. But you actually watch it, you're like, wow, I was right. It's really good. Like, I was wrong. Like, that's one thing I love, being proven wrong. Like, especially when a good show like this comes around.
Yeah, because you're always afraid.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a show that I'm not afraid to hype to people, because I think it lives up to any amount of hype, because it's so... again, I'm just going to talk about another of my favorite moments. It was the start of episode 7 or 8, the one where they're about to go back to Balmera, and they're all like, they're talking about the lasers, and like, pow, pow, pow. What are you talking about? No, it was more like, pa-choo, pa-choo. No, it was more like, and then Shiro's like, guys, stop.
Okay.
Actually, it was more like,
Literally this. Yeah.
blam, blam, blam. They're like, what? No, wrong. And that, to me, I love that, like, Shiro doesn't get in on a lot of the jokes in the show, and it's great that he, like, just gets right down on their level for that bit. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe he is a teenager.
Pew.
He definitely is a teenager at heart.
Well, I mean,
He's just been through a dramatic experience, which was something. I mean, if we were in his shoes, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be as, like, happy-go-lucky as he is, all the others would be.
although I don't know why they're sending 16-year-olds into space. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know either.
Well, that's the interesting thing about the show, too, is that the technology level seen in the show, this is where the real sci-fi geek in me comes out, the tech level in this show is something you don't see in a lot of science fiction, because in most science fiction, it's either it's Earth of today and then an alien comes down, or it's Star Trek, it's Earth of the 23rd century and we're super advanced. Here, like, oh, we've just gotten to Pluto, we haven't gotten out of our own solar system. Oh, we can get to Pluto, but it takes like a couple months.
Yeah.
And I like that technology level, and I think that there's also, I definitely think there's something going on with Earth in the show. I don't know if they don't, maybe they must know something about Zarkon or the evil forces out there, because there was that whole cover-up about Shiro, and there was the cover-up when he came back, although it may have just been, oh, we can't let the public know there are aliens, it will cause huge amounts of panic.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think in like season 5 or something, maybe earlier, I don't know, they're going to go back to Earth, and
that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping
things are going to hit the fan.
Yeah,
oh yeah, definitely.
I'm hoping that shit goes down.
So, you guys want to start doing closing thoughts? Because I think you have to go through soon, right, Samus? And I have a parent thing coming up in a bit too.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I need to eat because I'm starving.
Eating? Who does that?
Food's not important.
All that's important is Voltron. You watch that and you feel sustained and happy as a human being. No, God,
Exactly.
please eat.
Yes.
So I mean, I can go first. Why not?
Go for it. Go for it.
Like I said, this is everything that I've wanted in a television program. Animated or live action. I wish there were more shows like this. I mean, not every show can be, right? But I think that what the writers, the producers, the animators, everybody who works on this show, the actors, have really brought together is that their excitement comes through in the show. That they know they're making something awesome. They're all putting 170% into this, maybe 200%, 1,000%. And that shows on screen. And what's great that they're on Netflix, and I guess what also DreamWorks is letting them do, they're letting them be that awesome. I don't think that there's... I mean, I'm sure like in 20 years when the show's long over, you'll get an interview with Joaquim Dos Santos where he'll be like, actually, like, we had all these ideas and then we had to change it, like, or maybe not, I don't know. But I think
you never know.
They're letting them be awesome. They're letting them do great things. And all I can say is I'm looking forward to spring 2017 because that's when the toy line drops and I will buy every figure.
Must.
There you go. It all, everything. I did a Voltron model now.
10 out of 10.
Good, because you know me, I'm already like starting collecting, figurines and stuff already. So
Yeah.
So like they got that build up, but then again, there's you have to adult sometimes. I hate to be an adult, but
can't spend all your money on toys. What? No, God, yeah, please.
Yeah. Please have enough money to pay your rent.
Yeah, pay rent first and get your food and your gas, and then maybe think about it.
Definitely.
So I'm done with my thoughts. So please go.
Yeah, Anthony.
The show is just phenomenal. Like I'm loving it from the get go. Like as soon as its first few minutes of just watching it, I'm just like I'm hooked. I'm ready. And then when you actually meet the characters, you're just like these are actually people in my eyes. Like they're not just people being created as as entertainment. I feel that these people are actually real. That's how dedicated to the show that these people wanted. They wanted to make the characters seem like they were real, and they are real in the eyes of the people.
Yeah,
it's just that great.
All right, so I guess I'll go next. As you guys heard in the podcast, I've been kind of I was on defense at the beginning, but I truly love this card this a lot more now. I can't get over how much I love it. When you have something that can really move you to tears, like how when Alfor was telling Allura, "Just let me go. You must let me go for the betterment of your entire sip."
Good.
I had tears. I had so many feels, and at that moment I was like, "Okay, no, this is the new Voltron. I have to accept it. Whatever misgivings I've had with not being the same thing as the past, I'm over it. I'm done."
I don't care.
This is it right here. I don't care. It's the pinnacle of American animation right here. Holy, oh my god.
Yeah, there's a few things anime could learn from this too. Just throwing that out there.
No, definitely, yes. A lot of animes are falling short, even compare with this. I'll be the first to say it. Voltron just did a lot of good things that were just amazing to me.
Major props to Studio Mir, people who animated this in Korea, South Korea. They killed it. The show is beautiful.
They did. They really did. But, Shamus, thanks for being here, man. We really appreciate having you air.
It's an honor to actually talk to you and because I've been a fan of yours for years, and now I get to finally actually do a freaking
a podcast
review with you, a podcast review with you.
Yeah, dude, I'm. Thank you guys so much for supporting the work I've been in for so long, and I'm more than happy to repay that. I know that I've been in your ears for a long time, and that's a great feeling for me to know that I'm with you guys in that way, and now I can be part of this, a little part of this as well.
Indeed. When we do season 2 of Voltron, you have to come back.
Oh my gosh, yeah, dude. When is it coming out? Next week? This week, right? It's coming soon, right?
Tonight? Tomorrow? Tonight?
Right now?
All right, start binge watching.
No, I honestly, if I had to guess, it will probably be when the toy line comes out, or right after it. So
that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, so my guess is spring 2017, but maybe it'll just drop in June again. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
It's not soon enough. Guys, it's only been a few weeks since Voltron. It's felt like an eternity. It's been too long. We need it. Why isn't there more?
Because Netflix needs to have time to make more awesomeness.
Yeah,
That's
true.
that's what I tell myself.
That's fine. You know what? Actually, you know what? No, it's not fine. Those are excuses. Netflix, I want you to just dump every other original show you've got and put all of your billions into Voltron to get this show done right now.
Netflix needs to buy Glenn from The Walking Dead and send him to the studio.
He's like, you're our property now. It's like,
Just lock him in the studio. Just lock all the actors in the studio and be like, you guys are going to finish this show. And like lock all the writers in. Like, you guys can't leave until it's done.
He's like, no, don't do it.
I have a family.
Yeah.
And by the end of the show, they'll all be The Walking Dead. No, but really, it's as much as we want the next season to be out now. It's good to have a little bit of a wait so you can appreciate and relish and have these kind of discussions.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Anyway, we are Anime Declassified. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. For more stuff by us, check out animesecrets.org. We have a sister podcast, Toku Secrets, where we have a lot of our stuff on there on iTunes, Google Play as well. And we have a lot more things coming out from different conventions we're going to right now. So please stay tuned, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you.
Peace.
Let's Voltron! Dinotherms connected! Infracells up! Mega thrusters are go!
Oh.
Let's go! Voltron Force!
Go!
Hey you! Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. You can also check out Anime Secrets on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. Do you want more than that? I know you do. Then go to our website where you can see daily updates and articles and exclusive interviews.